Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please give your confirmations on the chat box, please. Thank you. I hope I'm very clear. Thank you very much for your responses. Thank you very much for your response. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. So let us stop the chat. Let us stop the chat. So what's the plan for today? So I'll give you an introduction about myself. I'll have a quick introduction about my experience. And then followed with we'll have some interaction with some of the participants. Let's understand their requirements and let's understand the background of the participants. And then we jump into the DevOps course and then we'll understand what is DevOps. Why DevOps is one of the most trending technologies in the current market. Are there any prerequisites for the DevOps? Okay, what is the main advantage when software development companies implements DevOps methodology? And we'll have a discussion about the course contents and followed with the questionnaire. So this is our agenda for today's session. To start with, this is Sunil. I have close to 11 years of experience in the IT industry. First 3.5 years, I worked on Oracle applications platform, and then followed with close to 6.5 years or 7 years experience I'm having in AWS and DevOps technologies. So I have a combination of Oracle applications experience for 3.5 years and then switched to the cloud technologies like AWS and DevOps. So this is total 11 years of experience. I'm based out of Hyderabad. I'm providing online training for more than 6 years. So this is a quick introduction about myself. So participants, those who want to have a quick interaction, please raise your hand. We already have many participants raising your hand. And one more important point which I want to share with you. I'm very happy to share this. We have received for this batch, DevOps on AWS, which we have started today. We have received close to 1,140 people registering for this particular course. Okay, thank you very much for your responses. Yes, thank you. So let's proceed and let's have interaction with some of the participants, starting with Venkat. How are you, Venkat? I think you have joined more than half an hour before with the scheduled time. How are you doing, Venkat?
So very good evening, sir. First of all, I don't know anything in software as well as DevOps also. I'm in software, but I just want to start my career in
IT industry
as well as AWS DevOps. I don't know anything, but I want to adopt this one.
So, correct. Welcome. There are many participants who have successfully made their career, Venkat. Okay. Yeah. After completing the course, they have successfully made their career. The only thing what we expect from you is that we need dedication and hard work and then practicing whatever we have learned. These are something which is expected from the participants and definitely get the success. Okay. How do you know about this course?
So actually, one of my friend, shared the link from.
Your friend is working in software.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Is he working in DevOps?
No, he is working with the WebLogic.
Okay, so he recommended you to learn DevOps.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Venkat. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. You also want to learn AWS. One more course we have. We have to learn both the courses, AWS and DevOps. Okay, Venkat?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. You'll understand it soon. Thank you. Bhanu Prakash Challa. Good evening, Bhanu Prakash.
Good evening.
Your voice is not clear, Bhanu.
Yeah, is it audible or not?
Yes, it is better now.
Oh, wait, I'm connecting it. Yes, is it audible now?
Yes, it is audible.
Yes, Sunil, actually, I'm working in Cognizant with mainframe support.
Okay.
Is there any openings with 1 year of experience in DevOps, like in the market?
Yes, you get it. Okay. So you have experience for freshers also. You have experience for the experienced participants also. There are openings, Bhanu. So mainframes, how many years of experience you have?
Like 1 year experience. Okay. Like 1 year, 3 months.
In Cognizant.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm planning
to upgrade the skills because mainframes Because mainframes is already outdated, isn't it? It's becoming legacy. So get into the latest techniques. Okay.
That's why I'm planning to switch to AWS and DevOps with after 2.5 months or 3 months. At that time, I will get 1.5 year
Better
experience.
opportunities. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, man.
How will the opportunities, Sunil? Like,
There are very good opportunities. Okay, no doubt about it.
yeah, okay. So thank you.
So let's have interaction with some of the international participants raising their hand. Madhuka. How are you doing, Madhuka? Your experience and your location, please.
My experience, I'm located in the United States of America. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please proceed.
Yes, I'm located in the United States of America, but
Okay.
I don't have any experience in AWS.
Okay. Welcome to the session. Welcome to the session. So keep learning. Okay. There are a lot of opportunities in this particular domain. So acquire the skills and get ready to get ahead. Okay. Thank you. Maureen. Good morning. How are you doing? Any specific questions?
Good morning, Sonny. This is Maureen from United States of America.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you too. I'm your former student on AWS.
Welcome,
I
Anil.
want to learn DevOps this time around.
Yes.
And please, the WhatsApp group you sent to me is full. Will you please send another one?
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
First things first, I think some of the participants are not belonging to the WhatsApp group. My dear friends, if you do not belong to WhatsApp group, please join the WhatsApp group. This is group number 113. If you do not belong to WhatsApp group, please join the WhatsApp group of this particular batch using the link which I've just posted in the chat box. Maureen, pick up that link in the chat box and then join the WhatsApp groups of this particular batch, which we have started today so that you get the updates.
Thank you,
Okay.
Sonny.
Thank
I
you very
just
much.
did.
Thank you
You're
very much.
welcome.
Ramakrishna, good evening. How are you doing? I can see your hand raised. You are now allowed to unmute and talk, Ramakrishna.
Hi, my name is Ram Krishna.
Yes.
Actually, I did my BCom 2003 and I have BPO experience for 10 years. Again,
BPO experience.
BPO experience 10 years I have. The 4 to 5 years I started business my native. Again, I'm planning to come back the IT industry. One of my friends giving to a link and sir is giving good previous batches also. My friend is joined this particular.
Okay, your friend is an old participant of this particular course.
Yes, yeah. My question is, it's possible to get the job in the 5 years gap of myself. I have 5 years gap to career.
No doubt.
Any age limit is there, and how come I put it my effort. I'm ready to put my effort. The meanwhile, how is the career gap is there? It's possible to allow or
okay. I'll answer all your questions. Yeah. Career gap is not at all a problem. You have 5 years of gap. That's not at all a problem. Your age is also not a problem. Okay. So only problem is there are less number of companies who prefers your qualification BCom. Okay. That could be a minor problem, but the rest of the things like your age, your experience, and your gap, these are all not at all concerns. Only thing is the right skill sets are very, very important, Ramakrishna. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
One more final call. Before moving on to today's session. Good evening, Jyoti. I can see your hand raised. Yes, Jyoti.
Yeah,
How are
good
you
evening.
doing? Your location, your experience, and in where are you planning to learn DevOps?
I'm from Pune, and I'm working in a Hadoop experience, Hadoop technology.
Okay.
I have a knowledge of AWS as well, but that isn't too basic thing. So
You are back to mute. Please unmute.
sorry.
Yes, please proceed.
Yeah, currently market is moving towards DevOps. So I am planning to learn DevOps. So I'm a bit confused whether all these things will help me or not.
Okay. Okay. Now, are you planning to switch your current domain Hadoop to DevOps?
See, Hadoop is now going from the market slowly. It is not
Okay.
totally, but it is going on. Now market is of cloud and DevOps moving. So yeah.
You're right. Market is moving towards cloud, and I can see good market for Hadoop also, but still latest one is DevOps and AWS. Having knowledge in cloud will also help in existing domain, Jyoti. Okay, so keep learning. Okay, and try if you want, you can try to get into DevOps also. Okay.
Exactly any coding language preferred here, because I do not have any
There
coding.
is very less coding in DevOps. Very minimum coding. Okay.
Okay.
No much
Thank
coding
you.
in. Okay. So yes, so many participants are raising their hands. I hope you know we cannot speak with all the participants. Okay, let's get into the concept. Okay. Our plan is to understand DevOps. Okay. DevOps, we can learn it on AWS. We can learn DevOps on Microsoft Azure. We can learn DevOps on Google Cloud Platform. Primarily, DevOps are learned in 3 cloud providers. Specific to this particular course, I want to be very clear. We are learning DevOps on AWS Cloud. So as the name suggests, as the title suggests, we are learning DevOps on AWS Cloud Platform. Okay. Next point. If anybody asks you what is DevOps, what should be your answer? Okay. So before understanding the term DevOps, let's have a discussion about SDLC. Before getting into our core technology DevOps, let's understand about SDLC. Stands for software development life cycle. What does that mean? Look at this. Let's have an interaction with. Let's have an understanding about software development life cycle, and then followed with the concept of DevOps. Typically, you have a client. Assuming a banking client called HSBC or an ICICI bank, whatever it is. You have a client. A client is looking for a particular application. Coming to HSBC bank, this particular bank is looking for internet banking application to their customers. So these clients like HSBC or ICICI bank, whatever it is, approaches software development companies like Infosys, Wipro, or TCS, whatever it is. Isn't it? These are software development companies. Typically, clients requires a particular product. So the client always get in touch with the software development companies, gives the requirements. The software development companies take the requirements from the clients and then they deliver the product to the customer. That's what it happens, isn't it? This is how the typical industry is. A client needs a solution, needs a particular application. The client will approach software development companies. The software development companies like Infosys, Wipro, TCS, Cognizant, whatever it is, takes the requirement from the client, they develop the product and deliver it to the client. This is what typically happens in the IT industry. Okay, when software development companies like Infosys, Wipro, whatever it is, takes the requirements from the clients, they have to follow a professional approach in building a particular product. They cannot build a product in ad hoc manner. There is a streamlined process in building a particular software. This is a streamlined process. There is a process. You have to follow the process in building a particular software. The steps followed, right from receiving the requirements from the client and then delivering the product to the client. The step-by-step approach is nothing but called as a software development lifecycle. A proven process right from receiving the requirements from the client and delivering the product to the particular client is nothing but a series of steps, is nothing but is called a software development lifecycle. So SDLC stands for a software development lifecycle, is nothing but a series of steps to be followed. And there are multiple models which you can take the requirements and build a project and deliver it to the client. There are different models wherein which you can build a particular product and deliver it to the client. There's a waterfall model, we have agile model, we have spiral model, we have V model. So there are different models using which software is built and delivered to the client. Let's not discuss with all the models. Let's discuss about the popular models. One is waterfall model, the other is agile model. Let us limit ourselves with the two popular models. One is waterfall model, the other one is agile. Let's have a discussion about what is waterfall model, how exactly the requirements and is gathering is done, and how exactly the product is delivered to the client. Let's have a look at the waterfall model. Waterfall model is not used in the current industry. It is outdated. Right now, nobody is using waterfall model. Every industry, every software company is using agile model. The most successful model is agile model. We'll discuss about agile model also. We'll understand the disadvantages of the waterfall model. We'll understand how exactly agile model overcomes the disadvantages of the waterfall model. And why agile is the most preferred model. Now you'll understand. You'll have an understanding about the agile model at a high level, then followed with the current technology, current course that is called as DevOps. Let's start with waterfall model. This is how a waterfall model looks like. This is the model using which you have to follow this model in building a particular product and delivering it to the client. A series of steps which needs to be followed. Right from receiving the requirements from the client and delivering the product. A series of steps are nothing but called as software development lifecycle. So let's discuss about waterfall model. The first stage, as you can see in the screen, the first stage is called as a requirement stage. Not only the waterfall model, every model starts from the requirement stage. The first stage is requirements. There will be regular meetings between the client and the software development company. There will be regular meetings between the client and the software development company, and it's the responsibility of the software development company to understand the requirements. The most important step is requirement step. The most important stage is the requirement stage, because if understanding the requirements is wrong, we end up delivering the wrong product to the client. Agree? If you understand the requirements wrong, most of the times it happens in the client calls. We will be under assumption and then clients will have another assumption. It's very important that we have to understand the requirements of the client very clearly. The first stage is the requirement stage, where there will be regular meetings between the client and the software development companies and clearly understand the requirements. So stage one is requirements. Assuming requirements are gathered. The second stage is analysis. What happens in the analysis stage? What happens in the analysis stage? The technology components are decided. What does that mean? Should we develop the application by using Python? Or should we develop the application using Java? Or should we develop the application using .NET? The application should be decided. The database, should we use Oracle database for this particular product? Or should we use Microsoft SQL Server? Or should we use MongoDB? Or should we use SQL Server? The technology, the front-end part, the back-end part, and the middleware. Where should we deploy the application? Should we deploy it in an application server like WebLogic? Or should we deploy it in JBoss? Or should we deploy it in WebSphere? So the technology components are decided in the analysis page. The first stage is requirements, and second stage is analysis. So the technology components are decided. Once technology components are decided, stage 3 is design. What happens in the design stage? The complete project is broken up into modules. The complete project is broken up into modules. Assuming a banking application. Assuming a banking application. So for personal banking, one module. For private banking, one module. For privileged banking, one module. For credit cards, one module. For loans, one module. For wealth banking, we have one module. For NRF banking, there's a module. For corporate banking, there's a module. The complete project is broken up into modules. That happens in the design. Okay, so that's how the complete project is broken up into modules, and the data flow diagrams. The user interface, how exactly the user interface, the user experience, all this, the workflow, all these are designed in the design stage. The complete project is broken up into modules, the data flow diagrams, how exactly the workflow should flow, how exactly the pages looks like, how exactly the user experience looks like, the complete interaction. All this happens at the design stage. Okay, this happens in the design stage. Once design stage is completed, next comes the part of coding. Here comes the role of a programmer or a developer. In this stage, developers come into action. If it is a Python project, you'll find a group of Python developers building an application. These programmers take the documents from the design team. This programmers takes the document from the design team as per the documents, as per the user interface, as per the user experience, as per the workflows. They start building an application using a particular framework. There comes the role of a programmer. So programmers comes into action in this coding part. Coming to Oracle, there will be SQL developers who will be building the tables and maintaining the constraints, establishing relationship. The application developers will play a major role in building an application, integrating the application, generating an artifact with all this stuff. So there comes the role of the coding part. Assuming coding has been completed. Assume that the coding has been completed. Once the coding has been completed, do you think once the application is built, do you deliver the application? No, we will test it, isn't it? There comes the next part called as testing. After coding, once the application is built, we don't deliver it to client before testing. Agree? We will test whether the application is perfectly working as per the requirements or not. Testing team will jump into action. They'll be writing the testing scripts. And they check whether the application is perfectly running as per the requirements or not. Here comes the role of a QA team. Assume the testing has been passed. Assume positive. Assume testing has been passed. Then we deliver the project to the client. This step-by-step process. This step-by-step process of building a product, and this process of building a product and delivering the product to the client is called as a waterfall. In fact, the first model in the software development lifecycle, the first software development model is waterfall model. The software industry started with the waterfall model. First of its kind. Before waterfall, there was no professional models. Software is built ad hoc manner, which was not reliable, which was not consistent. The first of its kind is a waterfall model. So waterfall model is widely used probably more than 2 decades back. In the year 1990s, 1980s. So in that case, the waterfall model is widely used across all the industries. There is no other alternative, which is widely used and it is also successful in that era. So this is how the software is built using waterfall model. I hope I'm very clearly explaining you how exactly waterfall model looks like. Okay, let's move on to the problems with the waterfall model. Right now, waterfall model is outdated. No software company is ready to use waterfall model. Waterfall model suffers with disadvantages. The problem with the waterfall model. Let's discuss about a couple of points why waterfall model is not which is not used because it is suffering with disadvantages. Okay, so let's understand the disadvantage of waterfall model. The first most important disadvantage is there's a dependency between one team to other team. The first most disadvantage is there's a dependency between one team to its previous team. What does that mean? Let's have an understanding. Coding team will wait for the design team to get completed. Because coding should start after design stage has been completed. So coding team will wait for the design team to complete their work. Testing team will wait for the coding stage to get completed because testing starts only after completing the coding part. My dear friends, please observe, there's a lot of dependencies involved. One resource, one team is waiting for the other resource to complete their job. When there's a lot of dependencies, when there are a lot of waiting time between the stages, it is very, very difficult for meeting the deadlines. Testing team will wait for the coding team to get complete the job. Coding team will wait for the design to complete the job. Design team will wait for the analysis to be done. So this is dependencies because of it's very, very difficult to meet the deadlines. I'll give a simple example. Look at this. I'll give a simple example. Let's say a project manager has given an estimate. A project manager has given an estimate that they need 40 resources to complete the coding part, and the time required is 6 months duration. The project manager has given an estimate that they need 40 resources to cover for the particular client, and the time required to complete the coding part is 6 months. For the 6 months, what the test team should do? For the 6 months, what the testing team should do, they have to wait. Let's say in a team there are 10 testers. What the 10 testers should be doing? 10 testers will be waiting for 6 months long to complete the coding part. So design team, let's say an architect has decided that they need approximately 2 months to complete the design part. So how many resources are waiting for 2 months? 40 resources are waiting for 2 months. Huge number of resources waiting for 2 months to complete the design part so that they get the documents. Are you understanding, my friends? There's a lot of dependencies involved in the requirement stage. Because of these dependencies, it's very, very difficult to meet the deadlines. This happens in the waterfall model. The second disadvantage is that, as the name suggests, waterfall, water always falls from top to bottom, isn't it? A waterfall always comes from top to bottom, isn't it? In the same way, in the waterfall model, there's no concept of going back and modifying something. Let's say the requirements is gathered on January 1st. Assuming the requirements has been gathered and requirements are freezed on January 1st. Based on the freezed requirements, the analysis happens, the design happens, the coding happens based on the requirements which are freezed on specific date. Let's say after a couple of months, let's say when coding is going on, when after a couple of months, when client wants to make some changes in the requirements, waterfall model does not encourage the clients to give new requirements. No, there's no concept of going back and modifying something. Let's say after a couple of months, when client says that I want to make some minor changes in the requirements, the waterfall model does not allow you. Based on the freeze requirements, the analysis happens, design happens, coding happens, testing happens. Clients are not encouraged to give new requirements, which is not at all suitable in the current industry. In the current industry, business is more robust and dynamic, is it? Business is more dynamic. Clients are the customers. Clients are frequently changing the requirements. Your model should be robust and flexible enough so that it accepts the new requirements and deliver the product. It should be flexible, where waterfall model is not suitable for those kind of clients who are frequently changing the requirements, which is not suitable in the current industry at all. So dependencies, which is very, very difficult to meet the deadlines. Requirements are freezed. In fact, there's no concept of going back and changing something. There's no concept of going back and changing the design. There's no concept of going back and changing the requirements. Okay, so there's no flexibility. It's very, very difficult to meet the deadlines because of these disadvantages. So currently, waterfall model is no software companies using a waterfall model. So let's have a quick theory about the waterfall model. The main disadvantage of the waterfall model is difficult to estimate the time because of dependence. And it's very difficult to estimate the cost. Only when you estimate the time, you can estimate the cost. Otherwise, your cost also increases. Once an application is in testing stage, there's no concept of going back and changing something which is not well. Let's say an architect thinks that I want to change the design. No, it's not possible. Programmers are already started coding. There's no concept of going back and changing the design. There's no concept of going back. We need to move forward. That's what happens in the waterfall. That is the name. That's why it's suggested as waterfall. It's not good for complex and object-oriented projects. It's not suitable for projects or clients whose requirements are at a moderate to high risk of changing. These are the problems with the waterfall model. These are the problems with the waterfall model. Okay. So we have understood the problems with the waterfall model. And let's move on to the most preferred model in the industry right now. 90% of the industry is going with the agile model. So let's understand what is agile model. How is it different from waterfall model? Clear? Clear about this? Okay. Am I clear? My dear friend, please respond in the chat box. Am I clear in explaining you the waterfall model, in explaining you what is the problems with the waterfall model and why waterfall model is an outdated approach? I hope you are eager to understand about the agile model, how the software is built in agile model. How is it overcoming the difference of how is it overcome the problem with the waterfall model? Yes, thank you very much. Let's move on to understand the concept of agile. Let's move on to understand the concept of agile. Okay. The way the product is built using agile model, my dear friends, most of you are already having an idea on agile model. If you're not having any idea, no problem. At a high level, I'll explain you will clearly experience how exactly the agile model is completely different from waterfall model. You'll understand. Let's discuss about agile model. Look at the theory. Look at the terminology. Terminology is very, very important. You have to repeat this terminology in the interview. Try to understand the terminology. Agile development model is also a type of incremental model where software is developed in rapid cycles. This results in small incremental releases, which each release building on its previous functionality. Each release is thoroughly tested and the quality is maintained. Agile software development method or a model emphasizes an iterative, incremental, evolutionary. Please try to understand the terms. Incremental, iterative, repetitive, incremental, evolutionary, small releases. So let's understand all this theory by getting into an example. So, Sunil, what do you mean by incremental model? What is my iterative model, incremental model, evolutionary? There's a lot of connection between DevOps and Agile methodology. That's the reason I'm discussing about Agile. So, on a high level, let's discuss about Agile. Agile itself is take 1 month duration. Okay, but on a high level, let's discuss about how exactly Agile model will make a difference. Okay. Okay, look at this. This is a requirement from banking client. Assume that this is a requirement from a banking client. Assume an ICICI bank needs an internet banking application. A client needs an internet banking application. Assuming an ICICI bank needs an internet banking application. How this particular application is built using waterfall model, and then we'll also have a comparative understanding how it is built using Agile model. Now let's start with waterfall model. What is stage 1 in the waterfall model? What happens in stage 1? The stage 1, I hope you are right. Yes, stage 1 is requirements. So what happens in the requirement stage? There will be regular meetings with the client, and the software company will take the requirements of the personal banking, they take the requirements of the privileged bank, they take the requirements of the wealth banking, they take the requirements of private banking, they take the requirements of all the departments. Okay. They take the requirements of small and medium scale enterprises, they take the requirements of corporate banking, they take the requirements of probably a support banking, and then they declare that requirement stage is completed. That's what happens in the waterfall model. They take the requirements of all the modules. They take the requirements of all the modules, and then they declare it as requirement stage is completed. Okay. After requirements, what's the next stage? What is the next stage? Analysis part. In the analysis, technology components are decided. This analysis is common for all the modules, isn't it? This analysis, technology components are common for all the modules. Okay, let's say they have decided that they want to build it using Python and the backend as an Oracle database and WebLogic as a Tomcat or whatever it is. Technology components are decided. Next, what is stage 3? Design part. Design team will come into action. So design team will design the data flow diagrams, the user interface, user experience of personal banking. Design team will draw the designs for privileged banking. They draw the designs for wealth banking, private bank, NRI banking, business banking, SME, corporate. And once their design is completed, then they declare it as design part has been completed. That's what happens stage by stage. Only after one stage is completed, they go to next stage. After design, what is stage? The next stage? The next stage after design is coding. Programmers come into action. Programmers will take the documents from the design team. They develop the coding for the personal banking. They develop the coding for privileged bank. They develop the coding for wealth banking. They develop the coding for private banking. They develop the coding for NRI banking. When they complete the coding for all the modules, and then they declare it as coding has been completed. Then testing team will jump into action. The test for all the modules, module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, module 5, module 9, module 10, and they test for all the modules, and they declare that the testing has been completed, and finally we deliver the entire project to the client. This is what happens in the waterfall model. So in this waterfall model, I repeat again, the main problem is dependency. The coding team will wait for the design team, testing team will wait for the coding to get completed. It's very, very difficult to estimate the time, so estimate the cost, delay. You cannot meet the deadlines which is promised to the client. So these are all the problems, and does not encourage the clients to give new requirements. These are all the problems with the waterfall. The same product, how exactly the Agile model handles is completely different. Try to focus here. What happens in the Agile model? What happens in the Agile model? Requirements team will be taking the requirements for the personal banking. They take the requirements of module 1, assuming module 1 has been completed. Module 1 has been completed. Then what the requirements team will do? Team will go to the next module. They take the requirements of privilege banking. As first module requirements has been completed, they take the requirements of privilege banking. When the requirements team is busy with privilege banking, the design team will jump into action. They'll be designing the personal banking module. Please try to understand both the teams are in force. The requirements team busy taking the requirements of privilege banking. The design team are not waiting for all the requirements to be completed. They're already in the action. They're designing the personal banking model. Look at the next iteration. Assuming the requirements of privilege banking has been completed, requirements team will go to wealth banking. Requirements team are busy taking the requirements of wealth banking. Assuming design has been completed, design team is busy taking the design of privilege banking. As design is completed for the module 1, programmers will come into action. Programmers are busy developing the code for module 1. All the 3 teams are busy. You're properly utilizing your manpower. The entire workforce is busy in action. Look at the next iteration. Requirements team busy taking the requirements of private banking. Design team busy designing the wealth banking module. Coding team, as they have completed coding of module 1, they are busy coding the module 2. Testing team is busy testing the module 1 because coding has been completed. The testing team into action. Next iteration. Requirements team is busy, NRI banking. Design team is busy with private banking. Coding team is busy with wealth banking. Testing team is busy with privilege banking. Assuming the testing has been passed, will deliver one product, one module to the client. That's what the Agile model, incremental. It's not mandatory that you have to deliver entire project at once. In Agile model, it's an incremental model. First, we deliver one module and we say to the client, can you perform user acceptance testing? At least the clients are happy they're experiencing one particular module. They'll feel how exactly the module 1 looks like. Iterative. In Waterfall model, what happens? We deliver the entire project at once in one single shot. But the way the product is built using Agile model is completely different. Agile model focuses on incremental, evolutionary, iterative, small releases. And we'll be releasing one particular module to the client. At least client is happy that they got one module to experience it. And that they give the inputs, they give the feedbacks. Based on their feedbacks, we repeat one more cycle based on the personal banking. What's there in it? The Agile model is most robust, flexible, encourages the clients to give new requirements. We repeat the cycle for the new requirements. Design team will take the new requirements team will take the new requirements of that particular module. Redesigning happens, recoding happens, and then we deliver it again the updated module to the client. Iterative. The entire workforce is the resources in workforce in action. Where software is released in rapid cycles. Each release is thoroughly tested and software quality is maintained. Am I clear, my dear friends? Am I clear in how exactly the waterfall model is completely different? And when the entire workforce is in action, you can easily meet the deadlines. And it is also helping the clients. Clients are also happy. The software development team is also happy. The entire project goes well on par. Am I clear? Please respond in the chat box how exactly an Agile model is completely different from the waterfall model. I hope I'm very clear in explaining you how exactly the Agile model, the way the product is built using Agile model is completely different. It's very flexible when compared to waterfall model. Is not at all used in the current industry because it's suffering with disadvantages, but it's very important to understand the waterfall model. And now the current industry is using Agile model. Okay. So you have understood about how exactly the software is built. using agile model at a high level. It is iterative, incremental, evolutionary. Software is released in rapid cycles, that's fine. But coming back to our concept. Sunil, our plan is to learn DevOps. Our plan is to learn DevOps, isn't it? So why are we discussing about the software development lifecycle? Okay. If you look at the comparative analysis, between the waterfall model and agile model, if waterfall model, if a software development company uses waterfall model, let's assume that the product is delivered in 2 years. The same product, the same quality, you can, in fact, better quality, you can maintain it using agile model. If the same product, if you use agile model, you can just deliver it in less than 1 year. Less than 1 year. 50% you can speed up the software delivery process. If a product is built in waterfall model, assuming it is taking 2 years, the same product, you can also deliver it in using agile model just less than 1 year. Such as faster rate, agile model helps in delivering the products to the client. Clear about this? Now, the point is delay. The point is delay. Now the industry is, when compared to waterfall model, agile model is speed enough. That's good. But now the industry is in such a requirement that clients are not ready to wait for 1 year. Even 1 year is long. You cannot expect the clients to wait, give the requirements and wait for 1 year for delivering the product to the client. No, even 1 year is long now. Client wants their application to be built and delivered in less than 3 months or 4 months. Such a speed rate, the clients are expecting the projects to be delivered. Clients are not ready to wait for 1 year long to have their projects to be delivered. They want their projects to be delivered in just 3 months, 4 months. Such a faster rate, clients are expecting their products to be delivered. So when compared to waterfall model, agile model is speed enough. Now agile is also slow. They want something more than agile. Even 1 year is a delay. Clients are not accepting this 1 year time. They want this built software to be delivered, products to be built in much faster rate. So, out of Fortune 500 companies, 40 software development companies, 40 companies have done a research work for 5 years just to understand the term called delay. 40 software development companies have done a research work for 5 years just to understand the reason for the delay. Why there is a delay in the software development process? No matter whether it is agile model, waterfall model, spiral model, there are any models. In spite of any model getting used, there is a delay in the software development process, and they have done a research work. 40 companies have done a research work for 5 years just to understand the delay in the software development process. And then they came with a report. The main reason for the delay in the software development process, the main reason for the delay in the software development process is because of one single statement. In spite of any model what the company is using, but still the delay is because of this particular statement, because of gap between development team and operations team. After doing a research work for 5 years, this is the main conclusion they have given. The reason for the delay is gap between development team and operations team. Let's try to understand this statement. Sunil, what do you mean by gap between development team and operations team? Sunil, what does that mean? If you want to understand this statement, you have to understand these terms. You have to understand the development team and you have to understand the ops team, called operations team. If you are clear in understanding these terms, then you'll understand the statement very clearly. Let's try to understand what you mean by development team. Is very easy to understand. If you want to understand these terms, development team and operations team, let's try to understand development team. It's pretty easy to understand. Development team is nothing but group of developers. Yes, you are right. If it is a Java project, group of Java developers is nothing but a development team. If it is a Python project, group of Python developers is a development team. Yes, you are right, no doubt. Development team is easy to visualize. Group of developers involved in a project or group of developers is nothing but called as development team. You are right, absolutely right. It's easy to visualize. Let's try to understand the second term called operations team. What is operations team? It's very important for us to understand the concept of operations team. Let's make this concept of operations team very clear. Let's say, assume a small software company. Assuming a small company of 100 employees. There can be software companies of 100 employees, isn't it? There can be a small company of 50 employees also. Assuming a software company of 100 employees. 100 billable resources, or in other words. Let's say there are 100 employees in a software company, 100 resources. Do you think right from first employee to last employee, do you think everybody is a developer? My dear friends, if a small company of 100 employees, do you think right from the first employee to last employee? I'm talking about billable resources who are involved in a project. Let's say 100 resources are involved in a particular project. Do you think everybody is a developer? No, that's wrong. Don't think that everybody who is getting into software job, everybody is a programmer, everybody is a developer. It's not the case. All big companies, giants like Infosys, Wipro, TCS, they boast that they are having these many thousands of employees all over the world. Do you think everybody is a developer? No. Don't understand, especially for beginners who are into the IT industry, don't think that everybody is a developer, everybody is a programmer, everybody is involved in developing a project. No. Out of 100 employees, probably 50 employees can be developers. Yes. 50 employees can be developers. There's a set of other 50 people who are not developers. Okay, 100 resources are built for a particular client, are working for a particular client, for a particular project. Don't think that every resource is a developer. Maybe 50% of the resources are developers. There are a set of other group of people who are not developers, but you cannot underestimate them. They're very important. They're very critical. You cannot underestimate them. Don't be under the impression that only developers are important. Non-development teams are not important. No, that's wrong assumption. These non-developers are very, very critical. This set of people who are billable also. This set of people who are not developers, but still they are very important, they are very critical, they are billable by the clients. This set of people who are not developers, but still they are very important, these are called as operations team. On a high level, you can categorize them as an operations team. Development team, operations team. Development team, you can easily visualize what is the responsibility of a developer. Okay, they will develop the code. That's the responsibility of the developer. If it is a Python developer, they build the Python code. Okay, you can easily understand. Then what will be the day-to-day responsibilities of operations team? When you say that they are very important, they are very critical, they are billable, then what will be the day-to-day responsibilities of operations? You have to understand this. Only when you understand the responsibilities of operations team, then you will understand what you mean by gap. Then you'll understand what you mean by gap between development team and operations. So let's move on to the next slide. What will be the day-to-day operations of the responsibilities of the operations team? Installing the server hardware and the operating system. It is whose responsibility to maintain the servers? It's the operations team to maintain the server. Do you think a Java developer is involved in managing the servers and maintaining the servers and installing the operating system on the servers? Virtualization of servers, providing access to the servers. It could be application server or database server. Who will be doing it? Who will be provisioning the servers? It's not the developers, it's the operations team. Configuring the servers, configuring the network, maintaining the security, maintaining the storage. Operations team. If the server is not responding, who will be if the server is down, who will be responding to the outage? Monitoring team will be responding to the outage. will be responsible for maintaining the security of the servers, firewall, and all those things are maintained by the operations team. Who will be maintaining the version controlling? Who will be maintaining the disaster recovery, backup and disaster recovery? Who will be providing the production support once the application is delivered to the client? You need a huge lot of resources, skilled resources to maintain all these critical activities. Storage, when I say storage, could be database storage. There will be database administrators involved in a particular project. There will be applications of middleware engineers will be maintaining the particular client's middleware team. There will be monitoring team who will be regularly monitoring the server load. There will be one team which will maintain the disaster recovery and backup of that particular service. There will be one team very important for maintaining the production support once the product is in live. So you need a lot of important skilled manpower to perform all these operations. These set of people, they're not into coding, but they're very critical and available. So they are called as operations team. Without the operations team, development team cannot achieve a small progress also. It's not possible. Development team will be completely depending on the operations team for the infrastructure support. Clear about this? So these are the, I hope you now understood the concept of operations team. Now coming back to our statement. Sunil, what do you mean by, now I understood operations team. Sunil, what do you mean by gap? What do you mean by gap between development team and operations team? I'll give you a simple scenario. Look at this. Let's say development team needs, Oracle database, some 18C version, whatever it is. This is a requirement for the development team. They need an Oracle database. They want to change the backend. They want to change, probably they are using SQL Server. They want to use Oracle as a backend and they want to experience the performance of the application. Now, who requires the infrastructure? The development team requires the infrastructure. Now, do you think the developers will install Oracle database? No. They have to depend on DBA, database administrators, which they come under operations team. All non-developers are coming to operations team. You know, there are DBAs in action. They take the requirements and then they provision the infrastructure and then provide the details to the development team so that they start working on the database, creating the tables and inserting the records. Assuming the DBA is not available, assuming the skilled resources are not available in the particular product, in a particular company, there will be two reasons for the delay. Either the skilled resources are not available to provision the required infrastructure, or hardware is not available. These kind of, so development team happily sends an email to the operations team. So my dear operations team, I need an Oracle 18C version by tomorrow. Can you provision that? So that's what the demand from the development team. So operations team will respond saying that, sorry, my dear team, we don't right now, our DBA is in leave. He'll be available next week. So we can provide the infrastructure next week. Either the skilled resources are not available or infrastructure could be filled. You may say our servers are always busy. Please don't give us ad hoc requirements. Please give us at least 1 week notice period to provision infrastructure. So these are the replies from the operations team. Finally, what it is causing to delay. It is causing to delay. The gap between development team and the operations team, my dear friends. The gap between development team and operations team is causing the delay in the software development lifecycle. And how can we overcome the delay? How can we overcome the delay? You can overcome the delay in the software development process by implementing DevOps. Here comes the right term called DevOps. The term DevOps, as you can see, the term DevOps is derived from two important terms, development and operations. The term DevOps is derived from two important terminologies. Dev stands for developers, the Ops stands for operations team. Traditionally, in the software companies, you will find only two teams, developers and development team and operations team. Now, when a software development company implements DevOps methodology, what is DevOps? DevOps is a methodology. It's a method which should be implemented in the software development lifecycle. What happens when DevOps methodology is implemented? The product you can deliver in less than 3 months. In such a faster rate, you can build the products and deliver it to the clients. It helps in automation. We'll be implementing automation in the software development lifecycle. So when companies implement DevOps methodology, there will be 3 teams. Traditionally, there will be in software companies, there are only 2 teams, development team and operations team. Now in the industry, there are 3 teams, development team, operations team, and DevOps team. You'll find group of developers, you'll find group of the operations team, and there is a DevOps team also. So DevOps team is involved in coordination between development team and operations team. Driving them, improve the collaboration, speed up the software development lifecycle. And how it happens? By using the DevOps tools. It doesn't happen by using just having a development team meetings and operations team meeting. You need to implement the tools. So DevOps is a methodology. Let's get into our technology called DevOps. So what DevOps? DevOps is a methodology which promotes collaboration between obviously 2 teams called development and operations team. This promotion happens and this helps in deploying the code into production at much more faster and automated. Have you heard nowadays? Automation is the most looked after in software development. There's a lot of preference on automation. It helps in rapid development of products. It's speed up the development of products. Okay. And DevOps is a methodology, and that methodology can be implemented by using tools. You have to use these tools. So what are the tools which helps in collaboration between the development team and operations team, which speed up the software development lifecycle? So these are the tools which are covered as part of some of them are asking for the course content. It's already available in the WhatsApp group description. Please have a look at it. But these are the topics which are covered in our DevOps course. We start with Linux. The only prerequisite for DevOps is Linux. You should be good in basics of Linux. You don't need to be a good Linux administrator. You need to have a good basics of Linux. That's the reason to start with. We start with Linux. And then we will move on to DevOps tool. The first tool we move on to called Git, called as version controlling tool. And then we move on to Maven, that's called as a build tool, which helps in building an artifact. And then the most important tool of DevOps, that is called as Jenkins, which is helping in implementing CI/CD process. This Jenkins is the tool behind automation. We'll be implementing this Jenkins. And this is infrastructure provisioning tool, Docker. As I just told you, if the DBA is not available, as a DevOps team using Docker, you can provide the infrastructure. Yes. Development team needs an Oracle database. Right now, the Oracle resource is not available. As a DevOps team, you can provision the infrastructure and you can provide the database. You don't need to learn Oracle database. Without learning Oracle database, you can provide the Oracle instance. By using the term called Docker as form of a container, we're providing as form of a container. That's the most latest in the market. We'll understand what is Docker. Docker is a containerization. The next extension to Docker is to Docker Swarm. We'll discuss about Kubernetes. It is an orchestration tool. Ansible, configuration management tool, which is very, very, very important. Nagios, which is a monitoring tool, and Terraform infrastructure provisioning tool. So these are the tools which every DevOps engineer should be very strong in. We'll be discussing all these tools in our course. The duration of this timing, the session timings are 4 o'clock, like how we have started today. Session starts at 4 o'clock and it will be approximately 1 hour duration, ends at 5 p.m. It will be 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. Every session is recorded. Every session is recorded, and after the session, you will have access to the recordings. You cannot download the recordings, but you can play the recordings for the lifetime. Clear? Clear about this? So these are the topics which are covered as part of the course. Very important point. One more important question. We are learning DevOps on which platform? I hope you know it. We are learning DevOps on AWS. If you do not know AWS, don't worry. If you do not know AWS, don't worry. You will be able to understand DevOps. No doubt on that. I'll make yourself comfortable with DevOps, even though you're zero in AWS, but you can easily understand and follow my sessions. But when you're going for a job, you're expected to have AWS knowledge also. When you're going for a job, you are expected to have AWS knowledge also. So I sincerely suggest, if you already have completed AWS, well and good. If you have not completed AWS, I strongly recommend to join DevOps, as well as join exclusively one more course called AWS. Finally, you have to learn both the courses so that your resume is very, very strong and you'll be capable of interviewing, answering the interview so that you can get the offer. Clear about this? So the only prerequisite is Linux, which anyways will be covered as part of a course. We start with Linux, and then it's always recommended to also learn AWS also. Clear about this? Now it's time for interaction again. I hope I'm very clear in explaining our today's agenda. We have understood what is DevOps. I hope you have understood what is software development lifecycle. And DevOps, mainly you have to use these tools, what I have listed, understand these tools, and use these tools for improving the collaboration with development and operations team and speed up and helping the clients, helping the software company to meet the deadlines. That's the most important job as a DevOps engineer. Implement automation by using the tool called Jenkins. Clear about this. Perfect. So let's have interaction. Yes, good evening, Priyanka. Your question, please. Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Sunil.
Yes.
Sir, my question is, if some requirements are changed in Agile process, so then how can they go back and modify it?
When the requirements are changed, requirement team Priyanka?
Yeah.
When the requirements are changed, look at this. Requirements team, assuming requirements team has taken requirements of privilege banking, personal banking, privilege banking, wealth banking, private banking. NRI banking is going on, personal banking is already delivered. Okay. And then they want some changes. Again, what happened? Requirements team, they can move forward for the next module, or then they can repeat the cycle for the personal banking one more time. Are you understanding? Okay, when they repeat again, what happens following the requirements? Again, the design team will repeat the design and the coding team will again repeat the coding. So that's how it happens. Okay. And then they deliver it one more time with updated clients. This is called a sprint. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So within 15 days, we will be delivering it to the client. So that's how we can speed up the process. Okay. By pushing the entire workforce in action.
Yeah. As per the priority, they can modify.
Correct. Either they can move to next module or they can go and make changes to existing modules also.
Okay? That's also based on client requirement.
Correct, exactly. Yes, you are right.
Yeah, thank you. And what's about the bootcamp? Whether bootcamp is involved in this or not?
No, this is not involved.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
One Max. Good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, hello, good morning.
How are you doing, One? How is today's session?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm really excited about the session. It was great and it made me to know I'm in the right place for what I need. Now, I have a worry. When you talk of DevOps and AWS, what do you actually mean by the knowledge of AWS will be required for our job in DevOps? Because I know about AWS and the different certifications it offers, maybe cloud practitioner, DevOps, solutions architect. But when you just talk of knowledge of AWS required, what do we need to go back and study precisely to get that AWS?
You should be good at solutions architect.
Pardon?
You should be good at solutions architect, associate level.
Okay.
There are two levels, associate level and professional level. Associate level is enough. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's more than enough for a DevOps professional.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. You're from which location? Canada?
No, I'm from Cameroon.
Cameroon.
In Africa.
Okay. I think some of our old participants are also from Cameroon.
Yeah.
Am I right? How did you get that? Is it through them?
Yes, one person who previously attended this session referred me to it.
Okay. Thank you. I hope you have enjoyed. Thank you very much.
No, I did enjoy it. Thank you.
Good evening, Kiran.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi,
Kiran.
good evening. Hi, good evening, Sandeep. Sunil, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to know, I mean, what is the difference between like Azure DevOps and AWS?
AWS DevOps. Very simple. Look at this.
I think the tools are the same, but
yes,
how
correct.
we
I'll
using
let you look at this. In our course, we'll be learning Git, we'll be learning Maven, Jenkins, Docker. All these practicals we'll be doing it on AWS environment. Okay. All these practicals we'll do it on AWS environment. The same set of tools, if you learn it on Azure environment, that's called Azure DevOps. Okay. Tools remains the same. Only thing the underlying platform changes. Okay. So, but we are learning all these tools on AWS platform.
Okay. I think the users will be the same.
Usage will be the same. The behavior of the tools will also be the same. Okay. Only change is the underlying platform. In fact, when you learn DevOps on AWS, you can also learn DevOps, the same tools, you can also implement it on, if you know Azure, you can implement it on Azure and you get the same experience also. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. How are you, Felix? I think we are talking for the second time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm talking for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is Felix. I'm speaking from Nigeria.
Nigeria. Okay.
Yeah. So I think my question have been asked and answered by the last person who just spoke. I just wanted to talk about the tools if we have the opportunity to actually have them answer on this training, and I'll get to answer that. So I'll be on the lookout to ensure that I'm part of this.
Okay. Thank you, Felix. Rolf, how are you doing?
Hello, sir.
How are you doing, Rolf?
Yes, fine, sir. I have this question regarding the Agile methodology, what you said, but still I think we are not able to
understand
overcome the drawbacks of Waterfall, because each model itself is also dependent on the functionality from the other model most of the time in practical life.
You're true, but with this particular time restriction, I want to give a high-level exposure about the major differences between Agile model and Waterfall model. Okay, but we go in detail. There's again a lot of dependencies, and the way the Agile works now is again completely different. Okay.
Yeah. So I think that there is a delay and the gap will be there, because some of the testing can't happen unless you complete the complete coding, even in the particular model if you're working.
You're right.
So is there any other methodology which is overcoming this, or Agile is the only proven?
Right now, Agile is only proven.
Okay. But the multitasking can help in these.
Definitely. That's
I believe
probably 20%, as you can see, 20% cannot be achieved because of the technology dependencies, barriers between the dependence between module to module, or between the testing to QA and developers. But majority you can overcome it problems with Agile.
Okay.
Thank you, Rolf. Let's have a couple of more sessions, a couple of more interactions. Franklin Mangoba, how are you? You're from which location, Franklin?
Oh, I'm currently in Phoenix. I heard there's a Cameroonian in the house, so I'm originally from Cameroon as well. I actually joined session
Little
7
late.
to 9 on DevOps, but I only had the opportunity to, I didn't have the opportunity to finish it because I had just started a new job and I had to concentrate on it and try to finish it and try to secure that. So I came back for this session so I can grab the as much knowledge as I can. I am also interested in the AWS course. I don't know when, do you plan to start it?
We are starting maybe in 10 days more. You will get the update once the date and time is scheduled.
10 days from today. Okay, awesome.
So approximately.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, so basically I've been a Scrum Master for 3 years and yes,
you are in the right domain, Franklin. As you know, DevOps is trending, especially for Scrum Masters. Having knowledge on DevOps will increase the profile value to next level.
Yeah.
Okay, take the advantage and grab the market.
Right. I just currently had a second job at Accenture. At Accenture. So I went in there, but Accenture is you can do whatever you really want to do. So my interest is actually to get to a point where I can be a complete DevSecOps. So I think.
But DevSecOps, the prerequisite is DevOps. Complete this and move on to next DevSecOps. Okay.
Yes. So basically, I think I'm on the right path and just following through with this first class.
How do you know this course?
Yeah, this will definitely get me where I'm.
How do you happen to know this batch, this course?
No, I registered, but I could only attend one class because I got a lot of other things going on and I wasn't able to concentrate. I was also finalizing my master's in information system at that moment. Yes.
Okay, Franklin. Okay, keep learning. Thank you very much. Omkar, good evening. Yes, Omkar, you can talk now. You are now allowed to talk.
Hello, am I audible, sir?
You are audible, Omkar. Thank you for joining.
Hi, sir. Currently, I'm working in HDFC Bank in operations team for CRM Next application, customer relationship management.
Okay.
Our application is now moving on-prem to cloud. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Which cloud is it?
Yes, AWS cloud.
AWS cloud. So you know AWS?
I want to join your AWS training also. And simultaneously, I will have knowledge on DevOps.
Okay, Omkar. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Keep learning. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
So my dear friends, this is all about today's sessions. Stay tuned for tomorrow's session. Same time, starts at 4 o'clock in India. Using the same meeting link. The meeting link will remain the same, like how we have joined session today. We'll be joining tomorrow. What is our plan tomorrow? Our plan tomorrow is to get started with Linux. Okay, so because the prerequisite, every DevOps professional should be comfortable with basics of Linux. So a couple of days we'll spend with Linux. We'll be creating a Linux mission on AWS. Let's get into AWS cloud. We'll be creating Linux mission on AWS and then we'll be experiencing it and getting started with Linux. Okay, especially for people who are completely zero in AWS, do not worry. In tomorrow, we'll learn how can we create an AWS account. Also, we'll get into the EC2 service and we'll be creating a Linux mission and get started with practicals of Linux. So that's our plan for today. And thank you for joining. See you tomorrow. Have a good time. Thank you very much.